Bank report for 2011 shows that about 25 million Nigerians live with one form of disability or the other. Now, to make the 2019 election an inclusive one, INEC has launched a framework which allows participation of persons living with disabilities. Also, the President Muhammadu Buhari, has assented to the 2018 Act, which is a discrimination against persons living with disability. Now, these form the basis for this episode of Big Story. You're welcome. I'm Ini John Mekwa.
Inclusive elections.
Disability votes matter.
Inclusive elections.
Disability votes matter.
A representative of 25 million persons spread all over Nigeria share issues which have been a burden to them for years. Being an election period in the country, their immediate needs center around their participation, which thankfully has caught the attention of the election umpire INEC through the framework on access and participation of persons with disabilities in the electoral process. In details, this includes the introduction of sign language and written instruction in order to carry people with special needs along.
This document not only guarantees the full participation of eligible PWDs and all such vulnerable groups, but places responsibilities and obligations on the Commission as well as other election stakeholders in line with its objectives of making Nigeria's election more inclusive. The Commission takes the framework as its charter with all citizens living with any disability. The Commission has commenced implementation of certain aspects of the framework in recent governorship elections in Anambra, Ekiti, and Osun states. The Commission will build on the successes of the activities carried out in these states and with lessons learned, improve on the inclusiveness for future elections.
This is obviously an improvement in the electoral process, and the immediate beneficiaries, who are the persons living with disabilities, applaud INEC for it.
There has been a remarkable improvement. The Form EC 200, EC 30, which that's from the level of data capture. When people are registering with INEC, you register so that it is captured that you're a person with disability and your type of disability. So this helps when they are making their planning, so that they know how many number of blind people, how many number of deaf or physically challenged are in any particular polling booth, so that they know what kind of provision they'll make for them. For example, in an environment, in a polling booth where they have people affected by albinism, that means they will need to make provision for magnifying glasses for them to be able to read and thumbprint rightly. In places where there are people who are here visually impaired, then they know that they would have to make ballots that are tactile markings on them, that people, visually impaired people, can read and then vote on their own. So the whole idea is so that they can vote. Every person with disability can vote without need of an assistance. So if that is taken in by from data capture, then the necessary arrangements or equipment or facilities will be made so that they can make their vote. So that has been done. That has started with the staggered election in Edo, Ekiti, and Osun. So much improvement. We've seen much improvement in these areas. Like me on wheelchair, sometimes venue of elections, the polling booths are placed at elevated places where wheelchairs cannot access. If I can't access the process, then I've been excluded. That's what it means technically. So part of what we are further agitating for is to make the process. It's another thing I can get to the polling venue. Yes, the process, can I access the process. If where it's taking place is not wheelchair friendly, I wouldn't be able to participate.
Annex says it has listened before the introduction of the framework and has put other measures in place to make the process friendly for them.
So long as we are created by God, we are all what? Equal. We are all what? Equal. No discrimination. And that is what the Commission stands for. And that is why the Commission has taken the various steps to make sure that people living with disability are included in our activities. As I talk to you, some physically challenged persons who applied to work as ad hoc staff are also recruited to do that assignment for us.
Apart from the election umpire, there are the responsibilities which lie on the doorstep of all Nigerians in the bid to make the election an inclusive one. This is tested in everyday interactions and socialization.
Persons with disability are allowed right of first service. They are allowed to cast their vote and leave if they will. You understand? I don't think that is special. So Lagos, in Lagos, for example, people with disability have rights of first service. That means in any public facility where people are on queue, as a person with disability, I have a right to be served first. So when I go to the bank ATM, I don't have to queue. I can go straight to the ATM and do my transaction and any other. So that is, so you wouldn't call that special. It's the law, and it's about inclusion for people with disabilities. So as it applies to the political electoral process, so if there are situations where, how do I put it, arrangements have to be made to make it accessible for persons with disability. Because if you say special, I think part of the problem we are having now is where you have people now protesting. You know, so why should it be treated different? Okay, me too, I'm disabled now, I can't see very well, stuff like that. So people need to be enlightened also that when persons with disability are given this access, you know, it does not reduce from the right of every other person to be served. It only means that because of their condition, they may not be able to stay or stand. Do you know also that part of that law also covers pregnant women in queues?